there's no time to waste a fucking. Knowing that behind now there's no room at all for mocking. When you attack with it all, there's no thinking. Red and green and black and red and black, all out attack. Let the math fall to the chump on the other side. Don't waste your brain, no time at all. Just go in and let it ride. Adding, subtracting, it gets so distracting. Everything sideways.
All right, what's going on? Hey, good to see you, man. I'm glad you can make it. Um, I know you mentioned that you had to work or you're watching from work. I can't remember exactly what you said, but I'm glad you were able to make it here. Um, Today is going to be an interesting one because it is my first time not having a metal artist as a guest. Well, in a way. So the album's not metal, right? So we got a punk rock album that we're talking about today called Planeswalker Punk. It came out on the 18th, so just a few days ago. And so I'm excited, man. It's a really fun album. We're going to talk about it a bit today, listen to a little bit of it. And yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So I kind of like this branching out a little bit, getting other artists on here who aren't just metal artists, right? Obviously, that's what kind of spawned the idea, but magic goes uh, beyond the metal realm, right? Uh, I might be as bold to say there's probably more magic players than there are metalheads out there, because most metalheads like magic, anyways, right? Kind of goes hand in hand together. So we're gonna get into it. We got a lot to talk about. We got a game to get to. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we already got him on the call here. He's just waiting for us. So we're gonna get over to my guest, Parker. Parker, if you're there, my friend, how you doing, man?
What's happening?
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm great. What's cracking tonight? Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, shout out to our mutual boy Matt from This Week in MTG for um, recommending you. So uh, yeah, I was looking for a new guest, and he's like, "Well, I know a guy. It's punk. It's not metal." But I was like, I'll take it, man." So I'm glad it worked out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really appreciative of Matt and the crew at This Week in MTG on their podcast, and it was really nice that they brought me on. We were talking about it. They gave a lot of good props to the album, which again I'm really appreciate, and it's just really humbling to get that. And then they got me in touch with you, and here we are.
Right?
We'll talk some metal, we'll talk some punk, and we'll sling some cardboard.
Hell yeah. So I'm curious, who found who, or how did you and Matt meet? Because Matt and I became friends when the Planeswalker album came out, and they wanted to bring me and Sozos on, and then Matt and I
Yeah.
just kind of became buddies after that, and now we play Magic together. So I'm curious if it was sort of the same thing. He found you, or how did that work out?
So it didn't work the same way. Remember, you are far more successful as a musician than I am. And have a lot more interest in your music than I do. So the thing is I work in marketing. I run a marketing team for a nonprofit. So I know about digital marketing and outreach and pitching and everything. So I basically looked up a whole bunch of like magic themed podcasts, and I just started cold pitching. And they were one of the few people that responded, and I really appreciated it. So they said, "Hey, have you on?" I said, "Absolutely." And they said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy Jason, and get in touch with him." And that was it.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad it worked out. Well, that's great. Marketing's something I wish I was better at. So, I was a music teacher for like 5 years, not so much anymore. But with my students, I always said, like, one thing I wish I learned when I was younger is a little bit of business and a little bit of marketing, because it's so important when you're even when you're pushing
Yeah.
even music. Um, and so that's good that you kind of
One
got
of the
that.
things that
Good.
Yeah, and one of the things that, I was a financial advisor my first job out of college, and one of the things that I realized that I learned was never be afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody.
Right.
And that was the most important thing, right? Just being able to get out and put yourself out there and say, "Hey, this is what I can do. This is what I'm trying to help you with." And it was the same thing here, right? I'm not afraid to email anybody, call anybody, and just trying to do what I can to spread the word about what I think is some really good, fun, unique music that I don't think has been done before. I don't think I saw your music, right? There's metal about magic. I didn't think there was punk about magic.
Right. It's funny
So
because punk even seems a little more obscure than metal. Like metal almost makes sense, but a punk album, that's really cool.
absolutely, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of the metal, right? You're talking about kind of the stuff, some of the stuff you've done, that epic metal, the power metal, it fits really well.
Right.
Um, and that's why, when I was thinking about, what kind of lyrics do I want to put in this? I didn't want to make it about the lore of magic and talk about, Liliana battling Chandra or whatever. It didn't seem to fit, right? I wanted it to be um, eh, kind of not a higher level, just a different place, right? I wanted it to be about playing the game and the experiences of playing and all that stuff. Um, so it seemed to just kind of fit, like you said, I think, because punk has that vibe.
Yeah, and I mean, listening to the album myself, I think it works really well in exactly what you set out for because it it gives off that energy. Like the song we'll listen to later. I've listened to it a bunch, but it was a Saturday Night Magic, right? That was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean that almost is like, even though it's not, it's almost like the namesake of the feeling I get from the album, where the whole album just has that fun energy of just hanging with the boys, playing Magic. You know.
I appreciate that. I mean, you know, when I started everything sideways, which was about a year ago, right? This is my first time I've done magic focused music. The first EP I did was kind of goofy stuff, right? I wrote a song called "I Want to Be Dracula." I wrote a song about, burb life, where it's like I'm a suburban dad, but like I fucking hate suburban dads, right? Like,
Right.
so I wrote a song about that. I wrote a song about this time that I was on a ride along with the Columbus, Ohio Police Department when I was in college there, and we went to go pick up a guy at a Denny's who wanted to be arrested because his girlfriend kicked him out of their house for the night and he needed a place to stay. So he said, "Well, I have a warrant, so why don't I just go spend a night in jail?" I
That
was like,
really happened.
yeah, it literally did. I was like, "What? What do you mean you're going to spend a night in jail? Like, you don't get to do that?" And he's like, yeah, man, I got a warrant." And he goes, "They're going to give me a bed and, some food and a place to sleep at night, and I'll get out in the morning."
Hey, life
So
hack,
that's
dude.
a song
Yeah.
I wrote. Yeah, it's a song I wrote called, "A Night in Jail." So that's how everything sideways started. So it's always been kind of this like, just kind of fun punk. And then when I came up with the idea for Planeswalker Punk, that magic themed album, I thought to myself, let's just keep it light, let's keep it fun, and let's just keep it something that I think everybody can enjoy.
No, yeah, and it really works. And so, yeah, I was curious about that because you said, you kind of answered my question for me, but I'll ask it in a different way. Moving forward, is everything sideways going to stay Magic focused, or is it like a one and done album and then whatever happens next, or you don't know?
Yeah. So I would like to do more. And I probably will, but I can tell you it's not always going to be magic focused.
Right.
I really do want to be able to branch out. Something I'd done before, I did some political punk 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it's very niche. It's very focused. Um, you and I had talked before about writing lyrics for our music, and kind of what comes naturally, what doesn't. And for me, I don't want to put myself so much in a niche that I feel like I'm going to run out of ideas, right? I don't want this to just be focused about magic, and then I feel like I'm kind of stuck into it. And then if I branch out too late, then people are like, "Well, what is this?"
Right.
So I'm looking forward to kind of keeping some variety in the future.
The good thing with Magic, especially after this year, I don't think you'll ever run out of things to sing about, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
With how much content they pump out. But I get what you mean. And actually, not to go back to myself again, but it's like when so many people are like, why do you have so many projects, Jason? Because I have a bad habit of doing exactly what you said, where I start a band, it's focused on one thing, and then it's like, well, I want to write about this thing, but I can't because it doesn't make sense in the realm of what I've created now.
Right. Right.
Like with Helium Prime, it's all science based, sci fi based. Pumping out a Magic the Gathering album wouldn't make much sense. So,
Right. And isn't that the toughest part, right? Is people come to you for that niche and you kind of say, well, I don't know if I want to be in that niche. So you got to do something different, something elsewhere. But then you're kind of taking time away from the project that you've been doing.
right.
It's kind of a catch-22 in a sense.
Yeah, no, I feel it. But hey, it's all right, as artists, we make it, if we really want it, we make it work. So, um, so the band Everything Sideways, there is a song on the album called Everything Sideways. So when I was kind of doing a little research on you, I'm very lazy on researching on my artist. I usually just, or my guest, I usually just let them answer the questions, but I like to I know some things. So I did notice the older songs, before the album, but then you do have a song on the album called Everything Sideways. What's that
Yep.
song? I mean, I think I could guess what the song's about, but what is that song about?
So the it's funny because when I came up with the album kind of idea, I thought to myself, or the name of the band, I thought to myself, what is it that I want to call this? And I thought I want to come up with something that's fun, that has some meaning to me, that I think is general enough. It's not stupid. It's not really, it's not anything focused on a particular, like one type of thing. I just wanted kind of a generic name. And when I was thinking about it, I basically said, okay, like what if I called it Everything Sideways, which is what I say when I attack with my entire board when I play Magic. A lot of people say swing with everything, swing all, swing out. I say swing. I don't like the word swing for some reason. I have an aversion to it. So I just say Everything Sideways.
And that's pretty much what went through my head. It's like either you're tapping out for a big old board wipe, or you're swinging out with everything. So yeah, that's what was in my head when I saw the title. Yeah,
and that's what it. Yeah, that's what it was. So I like to say Everything Sideways, and that song, if I can remember the chorus, it's when you attack with it all, there's no thinking. Red and green and black and red and black all out attack. When you attack with it all, you basically leave the math up to the chump on the other side of the table. So go all in and let it ride. Adding, subtracting, it gets so distracting. Everything Sideways.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, Matt and I were talking about the album, and I think our favorite line is, I think it's like counter spells are my ignition. From the Magic Blues, is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, that's so Matt and I, when we were talking about that song, and so the basis of that song, I have to give credit to my classical guitar teacher, Michael Bard, who taught me classical guitar when I was 15 for like 3 months. And crazy enough, I still have the sheet music that he gave me. And one of the things he gave me was this like blues riff that he wanted me to learn on classical guitar, kind of this guitar that you can see like right over the corner. And I played it for my wife one time, and she thought it was like the dumbest thing. She said, Parker, don't ever play that again. It's like the cheesiest, corniest blues thing. So I don't know why, if it was like to like, just kind of like rub my wife a little bit, I was like, I'm going to turn this into a punk song. So I said, well, what can I write a blues song about, like a blues riff? I was like, wait, holy shit, like playing blue. Mm-hmm. And I got the blues from playing the blues. And again, I get it, Jason, it's corny.
That's okay then. Yeah.
But like you said, I don't know how to play the blues. That's why I'm singing to you. drawing cards and flying men. Um, you know, don't even know my win condition. And then, like you said, um, uh, counter. What was it?
Counter spells are my
Oh my God.
ignition. Yeah.
Yeah, counter spells are. I don't even know my win condition. Counter spells are my ignition. Uh,
You know, it's
it's
so
just
it's
it's true, right? Like that's most of the time. I feel like Blue doesn't really know how to win. You just kind of like grind it out until like something else happens that you're like, oh, I won the game. Or
I
something.
think
It's like,
the answer to blue winning with blue is Laboratory Maniac. There you go. Or Thassa's Oracle. Yeah. No, but it's funny that you said that. Like, I don't even know my win condition because, like, I have one mono blue deck, and I tell people like I love to play blue, and when they're like, "Why?" It's like because I love to draw cards, and that's the thing is like I'm drawing all these cards, and I'm like, okay, now what do I do with them? They're
right.
here, but I don't like it's like how do I win this thing? So,
Right. I
um,
have I have a card that lets me have 20 cards in my hand, but what do? I don't even know which card to play next.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I put that song together. I just thought it was fun, and I've got this kind of lower voice, so I could do that. This song is about playing the blues, just kind of like a blues artist would do in some smoky club somewhere,
Right.
and then I busted into that fast punk beat. So it was a lot of fun.
No, I like it. I think my only complaint with that song is it was too short. But at the same time, though, I respected that because it's just
Thank you.
it's very punk, man. Like
Thank you.
it's just in and out. Like uh, you know,
Absolutely. It's like, what do I need to say? Like playing blue is hard, and I don't know what I'm doing when I play blue. I'm probably not going to win, but on the off chance I might. End of song.
oh, someone in the chat says we're just gonna ignore merfolk. You're right. I'm sorry. I do love those merfolks. So yeah. But yeah, no. The whole album is really fun, and it's
Thank you.
honestly, man, it's really well written too. Like, I mean, it's a very enjoyable album. That's all I can really say. And again, like my first like thoughts, like, oh, it's short, but then it's not metal. Not every song has to be 10 minutes long, right? So,
Yeah, and the other thing is, for anybody listening out there, right? I do everything for it, right? There's
I
the
was gonna bring that.
bass.
Yeah, yeah,
They're my guitars, my drum sets behind me. This is the mic that I record on. And so it's when you're talking about like writing music and recording it, I'm limited by my abilities. So I have to come up with all the stuff. So coming up with a punk album that's 12, 13, 15 songs, coming up with like really intricate riffs or really like pushing it, I'm limited by my own mindset. So when I came up with what was at least 8 songs, I thought to myself, well, you know what? Good enough. Like
right.
I'm proud of it. And when you're a musician who doesn't make any money off your music, the number one thing you can do is just be really proud of what you're doing.
Hey,
And I'm
amen.
proud of it. That's what it comes down to. I'm sure it's the same for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, even now, I don't make money, but it's fine. Like you said, you love what we do. Okay, so I'm looking up right now since we're on the subject and we keep going back and forth about how good the album is. Why don't we give everyone a little taste? So I know we talked prior. Are you able to see the chat? Um,
Yeah. I think I've got it up. Twitch is being a little bit of a bitch for me right now, but I think I've got it up enough.
okay.
And I'm just gonna try to keep up as best I can here.
Yeah. So we're gonna play a song real quick, everybody. I'm gonna switch over to my YouTube here. See, there we go. Cool. Um, oh, oops. All my shit's whack. Let's put you over there. Okay, so I'm gonna actually play Saturday Night Magic. Um, and man, my memory's so bad that now I can't remember if I just said this on the stream or to you earlier because we were talking like 30 minutes before this. But I feel like this song just embodies the whole album. Like, if it wasn't called Planeswalker Punk, this is probably what I would have wanted the album to be called. Like, it just, you know, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it gives me that feeling of again just playing Magic with the homies, having a good time. Like I even love a lot. Like, you know, there's a line that will get the people hear, but I just thought like, oh, it's so wholesome. You know, just like don't even care if I win, just want to play Magic. You know.
Right. Right.
Then that's how it should be. Now, you know, sometimes during the
Absolutely.
game, a little salt gets thrown around, but we're all still friends at the end. So,
Of
but
course.
okay. Hopefully, I don't know if you can turn your mic up a little bit, but that you're fine now. But I don't know how it'll be when the song's playing. People in the chat can let me know.
Sure. Yeah. Just let me know. I can crank up a little bit more volume here.
Yeah, but okay. So I'm gonna play Saturday Night Magic. For everybody watching, if there's anything you want to comment on it, like you mentioned, you do everything yourself, which we could see. Um, you know, I'm kind of curious. Like, did you actually? You know, we'll just ask this now. Did you film and edit everything yourself too for this?
I did.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
sweet. Well, that's awesome, man. Let's jump into it. Saturday Night Magic. Oh, and I told you this earlier. I'm just gonna say it again. I know I'm stopping already. But I love the heavy metal tone you got for this punk rock song.
Thank you.
So I just had to throw
Thank
that
you.
out there. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm really gonna play it now.
Getting ready for a Saturday night. Gonna pull out my cards so we can get it right. The game's coming over for a magic time. We're gonna drink some beers, we're gonna play it right. Set up the tables and hang the lights. Crack our pack sitting right outside. Just on time, that crew walks in, ready to throw down, so let's get it in. This is all about escape from life, so play your cards and make it right. 8 of us playing all night long, let's keep it going on and on. Here with my gang on a Saturday night. Doesn't matter if I win this fight. It's all about our time right here. I wish it wouldn't end this in clear. 8 of us all hanging out. There's no shouting, there's no pops. Slinging cardboard on a beautiful night. All along it feels just right. Open the packs and pass the cards. Gonna make my picks, gonna try real hard. To beat these guys, can't ever seem to win. I'll just keep on trying again and again. Make my deck, don't think I'll win this time. Even though there's nothing on the line. Only prize we have is pride and a blow-up trophy that you can sign. Match it up, draw your cards, turn them sideways and see how it goes. 8 of us playing all night long, let's keep it going on and on. You and my bros on a Saturday night. Doesn't matter if I win this fight. It's all about
I'm noticing no commander games going on.
wish it wouldn't end this in clear. 8 of us all hanging out.
Nah, not really.
There's no shouting, there's no pops. Slinging cardboard on a beautiful night. All along it.
We actually this was a if I remember correctly, Dominaria United, and I think I gave everybody a collector's pack as well.
Oh, cool.
You and my gang on a Saturday night. Doesn't matter if I win this fight. It's all about our time right here. I wish it wouldn't end this in clear. 8 of us all hanging out. There's no shouting, there's no pops. Slinging cardboard on a beautiful night.
Our shirts are matching.
It feels just right.
I got a few more. anybody wants one? They're on my Bandcamp page. You know, I'll probably just send you one for free. Just hit me up or whatever.
You heard that.
I got a few of them. Seriously, yeah. Just I sent one to Jason. You know, anybody wants one? Just I appreciate the representation of it. But yeah, you know, that was a fun song to make. You know, as I think you know, a lot of Magic players, you know, maybe this is a generalization. I'm sorry about this, but you know, a lot of my friends are maybe shy. You know, they're not, you know, they really want to be on camera. They weren't too into it, but I was able to get them out of their shell a little bit. And we had some fun. And I think we just opened up a box of Dominaria United. I gave everybody a collector's booster pack as well as kind of a surprise to open. And then kudos to my wife Abby for being a really good camera person operator that day and just making sure that we put our kid. I've got two young kids. We put them down for a nap, and I said, "All right, let's get the camera. Let's start recording." And I've done enough video in my life and previous jobs that I've had that I have some sense of how to do it, right? Camera movement and other stuff. So it worked out really well in the end. I'm really proud of it.
Right. No, man, it's great. It's a lot of fun, and I love that, right? Getting older is putting the kids to bed so we can play card games. Yeah.
And that's what happened because that was a Saturday, literally Saturday. The problem is the song, and my friends were joking with me about this. They said, 8 of us all hanging out. They said, Parker, there's only 6 people in the video. I said, well, one of my friends broke her foot and couldn't come with her boyfriend, so that's why we only had 6 people that night.
Right.
So it's a little joke that we have with the Magic players that night. But yeah, we recorded that video while my kids were napping during the day, and then at night we recorded the video of us actually playing. So that was an actual Saturday Night Magic draft that was happening at my house. Real live video.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. I love too, you got your wife involved in it, all your buddies, that's great. And I kind of did a similar thing. It was a little more staged though, but if you watch the first Planeswalker video, there's us.
Oh, I've seen them. Yours are great.
Thanks,
That's like cinematic quality.
But the first one was the same feeling, like us sitting around doing a Magic game. But what's funny, it doesn't happen all the time, but I won that game turn 5. And it was such a good play that I couldn't not play it. But we didn't have enough content for the video. So we just kind of I did the move, won the game, and then we pretended like I didn't, and then we just kept the game going. But so we could
Jason, you remember the content is king. You got to get the content right.
I agree, and again, I wasn't expecting it, but I saw it in my hand, and I was like, I have to do this. I have to. So I did, and then so a lot of stuff after that was just us pretending to, because we kind of the same thing. We're not, believe it or not, I can be camera shy, and being enthusiastic and stuff's a little hard. And a lot of our what's that?
Yeah, I was just say. So a lot of times, as I think sometimes that video recording doesn't go as well as you think it will.
Oh yeah.
It's sorry about that. It's one of the things I wanted to do that night was actually get the guys kind of either singing the song with me or being in it, kind of mouthing the words. And I actually brought my amp and a guitar outside to kind of get some stuff. And I will be honest with you, I kind of chickened out at the end. I really did. I kind of chickened out a little bit. I didn't ask the guys. It just kind of felt weird for a second. So I said, I just didn't do it. So I didn't have all the content I wanted, but you live and learn, and you just have fun with the videos when you can do them.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like, man. Oh, speaking of which, my buddy Matt Wagers just jumped in the chat. He was one of the guys in the Planeswalker video. So, but kind of speaking of that, the one thing I did, and it's funny because I'm the one who felt the goofiest in the video when we're all stopping saying Nicol Bolas. I just kept seeing that in my head. We have to do it. I was like, I don't care if it doesn't make sense. It's just too, and it turned out really cool. But you could see me breaking, because doing things like that, I just felt so silly. But it turned out really cool. It was and it's so funny too. I'm sure you could get it. We made these albums and stuff for our love for the game. So I remember seeing negative comments on the music video, and it's like how we're just playing a card game. It's you clearly didn't understand the point of this band if you're mad that we're playing Magic, But so Planeswalker Punk. Now let's talk about you. Oh, did I lose your audio? Oh, yeah. You're not in Spell Table anymore. There you are.
Yeah, I got kicked out of
Did you get
Spell Table, but I'm back. Let me know if that works.
Yeah, you're good. Did you get exiled?
Okay. Good stuff. There we go. So you were saying your question.
Oh, right. So we talked about Planeswalker Punk, but noticing in the video, I mean, you got like a whole setup there. How long have you, even before everything sideways, like just been doing music? You know, what was kind of the start of music for you? Like, and what was like your first thing you did that you could remember?
How far back do you want to go?
As far back as you're willing to go.
As far back.
Yeah.
So I will tell you this, and I'll make it kind of short. So number one.
Real quick, sorry.
Yeah.
If you care, I think when you came back into Spell Table, I don't think it's picking up that mic anymore. I'm hearing a lot of background noise, and it's not as crisp. You still sound fine, but I know you spent a long time on your setup, so.
I tried, man. I tried. Yeah, I think
that's it.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. So, first thing that changed my life was the Enter Sandman video by Metallica. When I was 9 or 10 years old on MTV, my parents told me don't watch MTV, and I was like, I'm gonna watch MTV, and I saw that video, and my mind was blown. I said, whatever this is, I need to be a part of it. So, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So funny enough, what really made me want to go down this path was also Enter Sandman.
Excellent.
I didn't see the video, but my dad had the Black Album cassette, and I played it, and you know, from that opening riff, it's just like, the fuck is this, man? You know, I think as much as people love to shit on Enter Sandman, it's such a gateway song, you know.
I just remember seeing it. For those of you who haven't seen the Enter Sandman video, I'm sure many of you have. It's this like strobe light and this kind of, you know, simulated dream and just this like crushing guitar. You know, I was like, whatever this is, I need to be a part of this. And I started playing guitar, and then I eventually got an electric guitar, and you know, got into Metallica. I was self-taught, taught basically myself everything except that classical guitar piece that I was telling you about. And then I said, well, if I'm playing guitar, I might as well play bass. And I picked up a bass when I was 22. And I said, well, I've always wanted to play drums, so I just picked up an electric drum set when I was 23. And that was 15 years ago. I'm 38. So yeah, I'm basically an old man at this point, especially in the punk world. So that was it. So that's how I kind of came about playing all my music and everything. But what really changed for me was I used to work for the Central Intelligence Agency, and I had an assignment in Baghdad, Iraq, 2011 to 2012. And while I was there, I actually formed a band with a couple other guys. We had a drum set, we had a couple guitars, amplifiers, and we actually played shows at the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad, Iraq. We played Metallica, Megadeth, Godsmack, Mudvayne, AC/DC, Offspring. Just had a great time playing music, and that was the first band I was ever in. When I came back from that, I said, you know what? I want to be in a band, and I met up with a bunch of guys here. So I'm the lead singer in a Slayer cover band in the DC area. And then in 2017 is when I released my first solo music that I put together entirely. And I will tell you, it is garbage. Nobody ever listened to it. It's terrible.
I know the feelings, man. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing, right? You just keep getting better. And you keep getting better, and you keep doing it. You learn more along the way, and that's what it is. So 5.5 years ago, I released my first solo album, and here we are now with a Magic the Gathering focused punk album.
That's awesome. What's the name of the first album you put out? Is it something people can find?
Yeah, it's under the name. I try not to go too big with it. It's political in nature, but it's called Truth Assassin. and it's all political punk from 2017 to 2021. You can imagine 2020. You can imagine kind of what was going on during those years. And for me, I just wanted to. It was an outlet for me. It was a creative outlet. It was a healthy outlet, and that's why I decided, kind of after that, I wanted to make sure that I did something that was really going to be good for everyone and open to everyone. No political affiliations, no drama, just good, fun punk that everybody can listen to. And that's why I put that on this banner right here. Punk music for everyone. Like, I really do think that my music, Everything Sideways, is punk music for everyone. Like I said, I've got a song called I Want to Be Dracula that's got kind of a little like Misfits type beat to it. So there's that horror punk. I've got the fun, like, skate punk vibe in some of my stuff. I've got the pop punk vibe in a little bit of it too, some Blink 182 vibes. So I just want
definitely feel that.
to be fun punk for everyone. Yeah. So,
like I mentioned to you earlier, so to the chat, like when we first talked, I was telling you, like, I didn't expect your voice to be so deep. Yeah. Threw me off for a little bit. Yeah. Especially listening to Planeswalker Punk so much.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to my vocal teacher, Linda Ray. She does virtual voice lessons, and she's really worked with me over the last year to get my voice where it is. And
That's awesome.
It took a lot of work, but I can hit those high notes, and it's cool. Like, punk doesn't really sound good when you have like that low voice. Like, that's good for metal, but I told you personally, I can't write metal. Your music is amazing, dude. I've tried writing metal before, and it is garbage.
It's all right. I can't.
So for me, just like, let's chunk out some power chords and let's see what happens with it.
But it's funny. Like, always, everyone. You always look at something from different perspectives, because we've talked about this. Where I look at your stuff, and like, to me, that's difficult. I feel it's a little difficult. Oh my god, let me try that again. It's difficult to write, because the guitars are simple, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but when something's simple, something else needs to take over and keep people's attention, and vocal melodies have never been my strong point. All the stuff you hear from all the stuff on Planeswalker, the singer Sozos, he wrote all that insane vocal stuff. I can't even dream about it. With Helium Prime, it's pretty much me like, okay, here's my idea. Now please take it and make it good, and then it's kind of on the singer to, so... I like we brought up Green Day, kind of the same thing. Like, I write riff heavy, and so it's like the idea of writing the melodies first, which is what I feel like. I don't know if you do it, but I feel like bands like Green Day, they have to, like, just the way some of the songs are structured. It's like they had to have had a melody in mind when writing this, and I just can't do that. To me, that blows my mind. That's something I just...
I'll tell you, I actually split between the two. There are times where I get an idea in my head, and I'll kind of think it out, and then I'm like, oh, there needs to be a pitch shift, so and I'll basically match the chords to that.
Right.
There are other times where I will play a guitar riff that I think sounds good, and I will find a lyric and vocal structure that matches it, that fits. So for me, I'm just trying to, spitball and throw stuff on a wall and see what sticks. And as you know, with writing your own music, there's so much iteration involved. You can think you have something really good in your head, and then you come back to it the next day and it's totally different. And then you come back a week later and you want it. This isn't good. And it could be completely different by the time you end it compared to when you started it. So it's an interesting, it's an interesting process to go through, the songwriting process, as I know you know.
Yeah. And, one thing I think that's beautiful about songwriting is there isn't one way, everyone, like, there's similarities. There's things you can learn. There's structures that people follow. But really, at the end of the day, everyone has their own way. And no way is really wrong. If the song sounds good, by the time you're done, then you did it right.
Right.
Right. And I think that's what I love about songwriting is, you know, it's just whatever. You know, it's interesting though. Going back to Metallica, I was watching a video of James Hetfield the other day, and he was talking about how they wrote songs back in the day, and he's like, for him, it was always about the riff. You know, get a good riff, get a good song, and I get that. But he made a comment that I had so many follow-up questions to, because he's like, you know, like Ride the Lightning, if I had 8 riffs, that's 8 songs. And he just makes it seem like it's so simple, but then I'm thinking of songs like Master of Puppets that has like 1,000 riffs, and I'm like,
dude, right? Yeah,
you know,
he's full of shit.
Yeah, I was like,
He's full of shit.
Yeah, I was like, that song alone is more than 8 riffs, buddy.
Dude, right? No, Jason, I come up with 8 riffs. I have 8 songs. Metallica comes up with 8 riffs. They have 1 song.
Right? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You know?
But
Come
yeah,
on.
so when he made that, I was like, I wish I was the one giving that interview, because I'd be like, hold on, wait, let's
Yeah, no,
like,
bro, no.
that just brings up so many more questions for me. Like, yeah.
Sorry, James Hetfield, that is not the right answer to this question.
Hero says, I come up with 1 riff, I have a whole album. All right, playing some Doom. There you go.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you talk about like riff writing and what works and what doesn't, and you know, the one thing I'll tell you for anybody listening that I don't want to do is I don't want to get in the business of just writing music because people want it. I want people to want my music, but I want to make sure that I want to do it too. Right.
Of course.
And that's what brings me joy, not being a musician for a living, as a musician for a hobby. So, you know, I put some stuff out there and people can be like, dude, this song blows. And I'm like, cool. Thanks. I think it's okay. You know,
Right.
I'm pretty proud of it. Right. Because that's one of the things when you make music is not everyone's going to like it. And you got to think sometimes most people are not going to like your music.
Right.
Just as a sheer numbers game, most people are not going to like it. So I try to make sure that I'm just really humble and really grateful when anybody does listen to my music, because it means a lot, because I know that they could spend their time doing literally anything else. But, you know, sometimes I'll log into my Spotify for Artists app and I'll see, you know, 3 people are listening to your music right now. And it means a lot.
Yeah.
It really does. So anyone listening out there, thank you. It means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I've done the same, you know. So, all right. Before we get into the game, we're going to play one more video together.
Yeah.
And then that'll leave us about 5 minutes or so. If there's anything else you want to tell us about the album that I may not have asked you, or anything about yourself, just anything I might have missed that you felt you wanted people to know today, that'll be a good time for you to bring it up. But let's jump over to YouTube if you want to watch with us again. We're gonna listen to 1 versus 3 Commander.
Yeah.
Which is what's gonna be happening here in a little bit. So
You want me to give some commentary as this happened?
yeah, anything you want to talk about, even making the video or the
Sure.
inspiration. Obviously, the inspiration is magic, but we know there's more to it than that. But yeah, let's give it a listen.
Sounds good.
I was curious about this artwork. Is this original artwork or?
So this artwork actually comes from one of our Commander players, Matt, who is going to be playing with us in a few minutes.
Oh, go ahead and turn off.
Matt has an account for one of the AI photo generators.
Oh,
And
okay.
He actually used my lyrics to create all of these images based on the lyrics from the song.
So like every picture we're seeing, he put in the lyrics.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Exactly.
And I assume
I
this
gotta
one
give
is the
credit-
place. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I got to give credit to either the metal website We Are the Pit or Metal Injection or one of the two. Somebody had come up, going back to Enter Sandman, somebody had made a music video based off of AI generated images from the lyrics from Entertainment. And the last line of that article said this could be a really cool way for, musicians to make music videos. I said, holy shit, yeah, it is. And I hit up Matt and I said, hey, what do you think we can do? He goes, well, I have an account. Just tell me what you want me to make. And then here we go.
That's awesome.
So all of these images, like I said, are generated from the lyrics with, of course, some parameters that Matt had put in to kind of make it what we wanted it. When I was thinking about how I wanted to order the songs, I thought, man, this song is just a banger. I want this to lead off.
No, I agree. It's great, very energetic. Just kick off to the album. This is the first song, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing, I maybe could have done something different by putting another song first and something a little bit lighter to get more people in. Maybe this turns some people off if this is the first song they listen to, but
I don't know, like maybe, but also it's called Planeswalker Punk, so it's a good guess it's a punk album, and this song is just like in your face punk. So I feel it's a great way to start the album. Like,
I felt the same way, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, here we are. This is what this is. Yeah. So I feel you. Plus, I don't know. I like it when an album just starts off kicking you in the teeth. For a great example, I remember. I don't know if you know the metal band Iced Earth, but I really grew up on them. And when Horror Show came out in 2001. I think I was like in 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. I don't know. But it was like the first album that came out since I had heard of them. And I bought it. And the song Wolf, the opening song, just fucking murders you. And it's like, oh damn, okay, this is what we're getting into. So I like it when an album just starts by kicking you in the teeth,
just punches you in the face. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to think, what is it that makes sense if you're going to listen to the whole album, and what kind of tells a story, and in it also, what songs do I want people to listen to because I think they're the better songs.
Right.
I thought, honestly, 1 versus 3 was the best song I wrote. It's hard, it's fast, it's got cool riffs, it's got typical song, right? Intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end. And I was like, this is it. And then I really, really liked that song Planeswalker Punk that I wrote, that anthem for Magic players. Like I told you before, this is a song for all of those who felt they've been wronged just for playing a game they've loved so long. And I thought, I really want people to listen to that one. And then I said, well, what's next? And I said, oh, but that Mox Pearl song, right? You just kind of build it up. And
you reminded me of something. Yeah.
I was just say it's and then after the fact, people tell me, well, dude, Saturday Night Magic is the best song that you have on the album, and that you put that 6th. If I had led with that one, but like you said, I think this sets kind of the tone for it. So anyway, what were you gonna mention?
So first on Saturday Night Magic, I actually think yes. I don't know if it's my favorite. I like the whole album, but like that song feels very single to me. Like if it was like up to me, obviously this is your thing, I would have put that out as like a single. But I still think you chose the right structure personally. Like I think 1 versus 3, even if I think Saturday Night Magic is a stronger single, 1 versus 3 I still would have probably had as the opener, because again, start with a kick in the teeth,
I appreciate that. It's funny you talk about like singles and albums and everything. And I just got an email from Spotify to this. So congratulations, you have now 100 followers. Release something. I was like, I just released something. That's why I'm fuck off.
Right? I mean, God, dude, the sad thing is that's the grind of the industry now. It's like, okay, I just put my heart and soul into this. Let me breathe and on to the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's all about promoting it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen my Twitter handle, and I'll say this real quick. I know we'll get to it in a second, but anybody who I'm doing a giveaway on Twitter. My Twitter handle is pschaffel, PSCHAFFEL. You can look me up, Parker Schaffel. I'm on there too. I'm doing a giveaway for artist proofs of the Mark Riddick Unfathomable Brutality of Basic Lands. He's a friend of mine, and he gave me a whole bunch of artist proofs. I'm giving away 5 of them by just following, retweeting, checking out the Spotify page. So if you go to Twitter, look me up. It's my pinned tweet. Just retweet that. I'll get you in the drawing for it. Because like you said, Jason, it's a grind. Like you got to push it every day, and you got to just ask more people to get it out. And that's why I'm glad that I'm here, so we can just talk.
Drop the puppy eyes and give a please. And no, actually,
absolutely.
You just made me think of something that I wish I had thought about 12 episodes ago, but I really should start like flashing links on the screen during these streams. I usually have people like mention it, but it's in one ear out the other. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I could have dropped some stuff there. But even at the end, like even after the game, we'll do a little segment where you can like remind people. So he's telling you now, and we'll tell you at the end. But
absolutely.
All right, so it's 5:00 now, but still, before we get to the game, is there anything you felt you wanted to talk about the album that I missed? Like, do you feel you said it all?
I feel like I've said quite a bit. So what I'll first say, Jason, is thank you. I truly mean it. Thank you so much for having me today. This has been awesome. I'm excited to play some Commander with you. But this is what I'll say about my music. I truly think that out of the 8 songs on the Everything Sideways Planeswalker Punk album, that there's a song for everyone.
I agree.
There is a song about Commander. There's a song about, an anthem for all Magic players. There's a song about people who like to play red, black, and green and just go out all out attack. There's a song about, nostalgia and having old cards. There's a song about, a father and a son playing Magic together,
really
and the reflections I had when I was 10 years old. And now going to a local game store and seeing a dad and his son look through a Magic binder together so he can pick out cards for his Commander deck, right? That's something special. There's a song about Magic Fest. There's a song about playing Magic with your friends. There's a song about, like I said, playing blue. So I really do think that there is a song for everyone out there, regardless of kind of the format of Magic that you play, regardless of the style. So that's the one thing I'll say is there's a song for everyone. And if anybody wants to connect, check it out. You can find me all over, social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. We'll get into it at the end, but just connect with me. Let me know what you think. I would love feedback on it. If you think I should write a song about something, I'm open to the consideration. So, hit me up and, we'll have fun with it.
That's awesome, man. Oh yeah. And then of course, thank you for being on here. And then my question, Mox Pearl. Is that based on a true story?
Yeah. True story. True story. Yep. So I grew up, real quick, I grew up in this area, D.C. area, Washington, D.C. The blizzard of 1996 came on a Sunday, and it shut down the whole city for a whole week. So we didn't have school for a whole week, Monday through Friday. My buddies and I went, and we shoveled driveways for 5 straight days. I made $100 off of it, all in cash. It was the most money I'd ever had in my life. And there was a kiosk at a local mall where the guy sold Magic singles. And I remember walking by one day, and the cheapest Mox that guy had was a Mox, unlimited Mox Pearl. And I gave my dad all the money, and he came back with the Mox Pearl. And my friends let me play with it in a hard, thick case, like that half-inch thick case that they used to have, whatever, like the screws in it. And then they used to let me put it like 5 cards from the top of my deck after we drew our hands to play. So I could always make sure that I drew it, but like I didn't damage it.
Right.
And then, like I said, the problem was I have no idea what I did with it. I probably traded it. Like I say in the song, I probably traded it for some bullshit cards that were worthless. And I can't believe that ended it. Like that was when I had an unlimited Mox Pearl. Now it's worth $3,000. And I'm never going to get a Mox like that ever again. So absolute true story.
That makes me sad. Yep. I often think, so real quick, we'll go to the game, but some friends tried to get me into Magic when I was young, maybe like 13 or so. And it didn't really stick. Believe it or not, I've only been playing Magic for maybe the last 2 to 3 years. And they gave me a bunch of cards, and sometimes I just didn't care. I was not into the game. I'm pretty sure those cards got trashed in my bedroom, and sometimes I wonder, what did I have in that? It was a lot of cards.
Right.
It's very possible it was all shit, but I didn't know. I'll never know.
There's probably something good in there. I mean, listen, I also remember a time where I went to a game store in this area and I bought beta commons and uncommons for 10 cents a card. I don't know what I did with those either, but if I had those now, well, let me just say my wife and I would be taking another trip to Jamaica sometime.
Right.
Again, I don't know what I did with them, and here we are.